we've been in an upward trend, and that's not necessarily a good thing. For the short term, yeah, it might take us down a few more steps here, closer to $33, $32. The Fed will not stop until the job is done, says Jerome Powell, Fed chair at today's Jackson Hole conference. Welcome back to another Soul Days. Wow, the market has really responded to Fed Chair Powell's speech today. Nearly half the index is down, over 4%. Almost all U.S. markets are down, crypto included. However, we do see some foreign tech, bonds, and oil staying strong. We'll look at why that is a little bit closer in a little bit. But overall, a rough day. Confidence is mostly exiting the market. People are selling because they have no confidence the economy can sustain itself. Inflation is sitting at just under 8.4%, but that's actually down overall on the average of the year at 8.5%. Some are suggesting Fed Chair Powell's speech is implying that we're going to see another 75 points increase. According to Jeffrey Roach, Powell's speech summarized that the Fed is going to focus on fighting inflation rather than supporting growth. If we do see another 75-point increase, that'll be 150 points across just a few months. That'll bring us to about 3% on the average of interest rate hikes. That's up from 2.25% earlier this year. We'll probably find out from the Fed's usual discussions on finance in this coming September. But until then, we can expect an increase on unemployment and a decrease on spending. Housing continues to fluctuate, although rentals staying steady. Economists still supporting the theory that we are avoiding a recession. But it's interesting because that's not exactly what the asset market is suggesting. We see here oil, bonds, and some tech sectors are actually the only ones showing green right now. And typically in down markets, especially recession-like markets, a popular investment tends to be bonds and other commodities. We'll look at that a little bit closer, but should you be confident? If you are holding crypto right now, should you be confident? We talked about why September is typically bad, or the reasons for there being no reason why. So I did a quick search on Brave, and September being bad for crypto and assets. None of the searches that I usually make are this specific for return results. All I see is September being bad, crypto bad in September, down in September, Bitcoin bad in September, assets down overall in September. Is this just another case of us fitting into the same pattern? Are we biting on the same trend? Is our suit being fitted by the same tailor? I think so. I don't see any real reason why September would be bad for crypto, and none of these articles suggest actual reason why that would be. However, October, though, there might be an actual reason, but that reason is based on September being a bad month, and hangers on, people give up in October and they dump, and that's usually why October ends up being really maybe the turning point, though. Rectember. Interesting. I pulled up this article from September last year, and it talks about why September might be bad, why September effect is real, but it doesn't actually give a real reason why. This is Bitcoin. So we're looking at Bitcoin here about the same time, August in 2018. August, September 2017, August 2017, September, August 2018, down, and then we see a rise up in October, down. See a nice sideways trading here in October, and then we go down. Maybe a black swan there. September, August, overall trending down. September 2020, August, September 20, August being the lower point here, September turning it around just like it did in 2017. And then we head up into 2021, and look at that. So here we are now, September and August. So unless we see more confidence being able to be pulled out of the market like we were seeing here, unless we see more just catastrophic events, some extreme situations, mostly the confidence is all but dried up in the market. There's not much more confidence that can get, there's not much more steam that can get sucked out of the market, I argue. A lot of what's happening now has been priced in. So we're seeing this situation here kind of begin to round out. Are we going to have a similar situation where we start to pull around in October? You know, the smart money has been probably most likely sitting on the sidelines. That's why we see such a major reaction in the markets. That's why sell-offs are having such a great effect on market prices. I talked about in just a few days ago that in a few days today, Solana being at 35, 36 a few days ago, we'd be at 33 today. We hit 33, and then I mentioned a few days ago, that we would start to see prices in the mid-20s on Solana and other assets heading downward. We got a pressure wedge building here that might take us down in the next day or so. We might want to start to look for some action here. But yeah, it might take us down a few more steps here, closer to $33, $32. Midterm, maybe in September, which isn't great. September is historically pretty poor for crypto overall. So what do we have in store for Solana September? Right now, based off of some major moves in the past, looks like the trend is showing that early first week or two for Solana, you can start to look at mid $20 prices here. But this is also suggesting right here that something should happen. Oh, smart money has been waiting patiently. And I think this is a scenario where the least likely scenario can be created here, where September might be typically bad and October being Rectember, the worst, and the turning point. The least likely scenario would suggest that right now, with all this negativity, September would be the point where we begin to round off. And October, we might start to pump. I'm not calling a pump or anything like that, but I do often suggest that the least likely scenario in markets is usually what happens. Then is it a good time to start looking at assets, investing? Should we start looking and learning about crypto and NFTs? Is this a good time to be bullish? Well, again, with holiday pressures coming up, could see some more sell-offs, and what confidence is left pretty much gonna leave. What sort of investments are popular during times of recession? Tend to be bonds. And also, in my opinion, infrastructure. And the U.S. Bureau of Economics tends to suggest that real items are the true value rather than the market. We talked about in a couple of other videos that about 50% of investors, professional, institutional, hobbyists, 50% of investors getting into crypto and NFTs are looking to make income. They're looking for gains. They're getting into crypto and NFTs for gains. And that's a very different approach to bond market. Sometimes people make the argument, or you'll hear the argument, that kind of lends itself to extra cash scenarios. So when it comes to income, it's often believed that exchanging money leads to economic growth. So extra cash from crypto gains might suggest that with that extra cash, people will start spending it on services and goods. However, again, according to economic terms, it's real items that are that bring the true economic growth. Because spending extra cash doesn't necessarily make people more productive. It doesn't make markets more feasible. And is it possible for us to experience negative growth while real net growth is happening? And is that what's happening now? So here we have gross domestic product. So overall economic growth is down. So we are experiencing negative growth. But productivity is actually up. It's up pretty decently too. So even on the personal consumption expenditures, what's being spent is actually up from a year ago. Goods and services and energy, on the average, value-wise, is way up. Primary contributors are producing more. Services and real items, other more actual real items like energy and gas, has been at reasonable levels. So overall, we're seeing productivity also present opportunity while also being overall ticking upwards, trending up. So maybe we are actually experiencing negative growth while actual net growth is actually growing. So that's really interesting because we're seeing in real time the market respond in a recession-like manner where bonds are hanging on while stocks and other assets are failing. And people are exiting and possibly putting their money into more stable assets. But if real items are the real measure for actual value and the real market wealth, real items are actually crypto and NFTs. And I argue that crypto is infrastructure. And so we mentioned that while it's not money being exchanged or more money that necessarily results as economic growth, but it's actually opportunity. Opportunity is what really lends itself to the economy growing. And while we see bonds markets hanging on there, I also believe that infrastructure investment is really presenting a really good opportunity. And infrastructure has very prime opportunity prices for potential right now, with potential. And again, I'd make the argument that crypto and NFTs are the strongest real items, because real items are defined in economic terms, as value as value of money here. You can see here value of money that has the effect of removing or is getting the effect of value from the removal of inflation. So interesting. All these real terms and real items on assets, the market is behaving in a way where it's leaving opportunity open for real items, for infrastructure growth. And crypto is presenting that the best opportunity for that right now. So this is just me answering the question, should we be bullish right now? And I argue that we should at least, if you're not already, looking at crypto and other opportunities for growth here. So we have some economists creating discussion on what is real economic growth on Investopedia, if you want to take a look. Here's Solana 31. I charted out a couple of days ago, a few days ago, my previous video, where Solana would be at and where the trend might take us. So if we're looking at real items and speculating on what economic growth could look like and where the opportunities are, and we mentioned energy productivity is up right now. It's just interesting to note because here we have Senator Warren, Elizabeth Warren, who just a few months ago, enabled an act to start creating commissions and based on mining consumption, or in other words, charging miners based on energy usage. So smart money, smart buyers are familiar with what's happening with the market here, and economic growth is being stimulated in ways you need to look out for here. And I'm pulling this up because this is a really interesting initiative here. So the first auditor of mining it on energy consumption was started basically a couple days ago. So I'm pulling up this article now while the act was initiated a few months ago. So this is really interesting. Take a look at it. It's the congressional formal act here. And some more news. So Senator Toomey, also familiar and supporting potentially what it looks like to me, supporting infrastructure by allowing more opportunity to enter the market. And he's addressing small transactions here, $50 or less, to start, will be tax-free. So we know that that's already been mostly the case in some situations. We did discuss regulatory framework beginning to enter the crypto market and NFTs as well. And we actually want to see that. We want to see something like taxing and regulatory framework, especially if we want more growth. There's always going to be discussions about opportunities to invest without paying taxes or minimal taxes. Although I'd argue, you want to support growth all around. But here you go. You have senators addressing opportunities and provisions. Yeah. Interesting. And we do know that President Joe Biden signed earlier this year in May, tax infrastructure bill. So we even have crypto being identified as infrastructure here, and cryptocurrency taxing and profit loss, in other words, being identified as a product through infrastructure provided by cryptocurrency. So interesting. Overall, again, should we be bullish on crypto and NFTs? I argue that NFTs are non-fun. They're real items. I mean, by definition, too, non-fungible tokens. So real items are non-fungible, true value assets, um, assets that are scarce. In other words, they remove or are experiencing insignificant levels of inflation. That's crypto, right? Bitcoin. Ethereum is arguably going to experience um, deflationary measures that might make it obligatorily, although censorship is now involved with 2.0 flash botting that I mentioned a couple of videos ago. Overall, Ethereum will begin to possibly look like it's deflationary if network usage continues to increase. And it will. Network usage is going to grow on Ethereum. It's the number one developed blockchain, most strongest utility of most crypto. Um, its its levels of trust are increasing every day. It's always right behind Bitcoin. Its peer-to-peer networks are increasing, exponentially. You hear brilliant economists like Raoul Paul arguing repeatedly for people to look at exponential growth in crypto markets, particularly. Overall, this is a great time to be looking at infrastructure investment, crypto, and NFTs. So now let's look at, I want to zoom in, as we usually do, on NFTs themselves. So yeah, a lot going on in Solana NFTs too. Very interesting market. Overall on Ethereum, the lending protocols continue to make pivots. Nifty, or sorry, other lending protocols are continuing to offer loans, but we're seeing a massive restructure in the environment. And why that's important and why I mention it is because in rounding off markets, when it starts to kind of make a turn from bottoms, and I'm not saying we're at bottom here. I mentioned earlier that we're probably trending to more downward movement. Although I do believe that momentum is gaining favor of getting back into the market. Overall, bad actors or weaker markets are beginning to get flushed out. And so right now in Solana, Solana is mostly, if you're new to NFTs, let me pull it up here. If you're new to NFTs, particularly on Solana, in my opinion, is being mostly overrun and dominated by scammers. Unfortunately, dominated because they're popping up on Magic Eden's popular trending NFTs. So I want to take this moment to highlight some projects that have stuck around and continue to build, continue to grow, and continue to offer something back to the Solana ecosystem and NFT buyers and sellers that are participating and keeping volume in the Solana ecosystem. So I like Utter Chaos. So we're looking at Utter Chaos here. Utter Chaos is running on their own validator, their own RPC node. It's very unique art. They recently revealed who the artist is, who has a great one-of-one collection with some really nice, nice value floor on Ethereum. And you can find his links on Form Function. if you want to find out more about Utter Chaos's artists that they revealed, you can go to the Discord link here. Take a look in the Discord where they mentioned him in the announcements. I don't really want to get too much into it because I'm not trying to endorse this too much, but I think overall, if you're trying to look for Solana NFT projects that are continuing to work and need more support, Utter Chaos could be one. And we're seeing a nice little run here on Utter Chaos in the past couple days. Full disclosure, I have my cows listed. I'm not a big fan of random giveaways and raffles, especially when a project had people entering at higher floor price levels. I don't see the difference between someone who bought one cow at 10 SOL and someone who bought 10 cows for one SOL each, and now they have 10 cows, so they have a better opportunity to get airdrops randomly, and have a better opportunity to, get more milk. And milk is what you stake the cows to get, and you use the milk token that you get from staking your cows each to pay for raffles. So while I am pointing out this Utter Chaos project as a good one, I think overall it's a great project. You want to support projects like this that are keeping volume in the Solana ecosystem. My opinions on how the project is run shouldn't reflect poorly on the project overall, and what it could provide to the Solana NFT ecosystem. I would be glad to delist my cows. I'm just being completely honest here. I'd be glad to delist my cows. I bought in because I liked the art, number one, and I liked what they were trying to do, or what they're currently doing now, but what they were saying that they were going to do in the beginning. I'm still waiting for the alpha audits. That was the other main reason that I got in, and I do like that they're running on their own. They're providing their own validator and running on their own node, so that provides a cleaner ecosystem that they're trying to create with alpha audits and their staking system. So Utter Chaos, shouting them out. Nice project. Here we have an OG Pesky Penguins that I've been looking at recently. Someone just bought the one on the floor that was one of the ones that I really liked. But yeah, another cool project. Pesky Penguins, been around for a while. I'm just mentioning them because you want to get into, so in these down markets, down trends, you start to see some consolidation in projects that are known and trusted and been around, and what otherwise might be considered blue chip projects. So if Pesky Penguins is a blue chip project, I'm not saying it is, but it has that potential as an OG project, which is really well recognized as a PFP. These sort of opportunities, I'm not saying Pesky Penguins is one, but these sort of opportunities are beginning to present themselves because, like I mentioned, confidence is leaving the market. So people with low confidence in the market sustaining themselves are beginning to leave, and you're seeing a drastic effect on it because overall volume is down, and what little left, when it leaves a mark, right? So did another one having a nice run up. That's why I'm bringing them up. They had their evolution, their mutation coming up in just a handful of hours. And here we go. Starting to see a blackout on Magic Eden. But I like the So Dead art. I like the So Dead community, especially. I've been talking about them in the past few videos. This is an excellent time and excellent promotion for Magic Eden right now. And somehow other people are still able to buy and sell. I don't know. Maybe it's just my location getting the short end. Maybe Magic Eden doesn't like my videos. I doubt it. I think they'd love the videos if they actually watched them. And I did feature or show a pretty cool clip about Jack Liu, Magic Eden CEO, talking about future plans for Magic Eden and his opinions on NFTs and where Solana ecosystem is headed with NFTs and how he can contribute to retaining volume, addressing exactly what I've been talking about and addressing not just in my videos but on Twitter for quite some time, is that people keeping volume in Solana NFTs should be supported. In other words, diamond hands, and we have projects like Atadia, maybe arguably a true blue chip project in the Solana NFT ecosystem, has created a service that can be summed up as a diamond hand card. So it'll show holder stats and wallet history and how the account was used, and mass extractors of value and liquidity out of the Solana NFT ecosystem are regularly being supported. Mass extractors of value and liquidity are regularly being supported, especially on Solana and in Solana NFTs, because of just the way, there's no gas and transactions can occur frequently for low fees. That kind of tends to lend itself towards making scamming much more profitable, and mass dumping, mass listing, just more effective, although it happens on other chains. So this is not me being negative. If you watch my videos, I'm talking about Solana NFTs all the time. I'm just a big proponent of rewarding people who keep Solana NFT volume and liquidity in the market. While you have to take profits, I like that projects are looking at that now. And even better, Jack Liu himself is beginning to address it. So, excellent. Magic Eden back on now. Let's check Crypto Slam for some Solana volume. Solana back up at number 2. Transactions are up in the 5 digits again. We saw 4 digits at some points. 25% up overall on cryptoslam.io. So, interesting time to be in the market. A lot of opportunity presenting itself. Health in the crypto and NFT market can still exist and can turn around almost at any moment now. Smart money is probably waiting to create the least likely scenario, and that's, in my argument, usually what we see in asset markets. There it is. Have fun, trade safe. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you.